Well, Thailand has been the worst performing market among its Southeast Asian peers year to date. So far, we're up by 6%. There is a whole lot of investor caution going on with retail participation slipping 45%. But our next guest says the market is cheap and indeed there are good opportunities. Doug Barnett is president of Quest Management and joins us here in the studio. Doug, good to have you with us today. You have been, for your firm, managing a Thai equity fund for the past 17 years. Your current fund is of $280 million in size. I want to ask you, though, considering your huge background of experience, how difficult is it now to sell Thai equities to investors?
Well, actually, right now, the locals are the ones who are mainly worried. The foreigners have been steady buyers of Thai equities for the last couple of years.
And they've been coming back despite the recent political crisis?
Well, I mean, there was a sudden exit when they introduced exchange controls for about 2 days, but all that has come back and more. So,
okay.
Foreigners are generally interested in Thailand.
Can I just get back to what you were saying about the locals? What is it going to take to get the local retailers back into this recent political crisis?
Well, I mean, there was a sudden exit when they introduced exchange controls for about 2 days, but all that has come back and more. So,
okay.
Foreigners are generally interested in Thailand.
Can I just get back to what you were saying about the locals? What is it going to take to get the local retailers back into this market?
Well, one interesting thing is there's a famous fortune teller who has said that there's going to be a terrible disaster in May, and that spooked all the local investors, so that I guess at the end of May, if there is no terrible disaster, then they'll probably jump back in. But the main thing that's going to get them back in is the election that's coming up, because typically in front of an election, a lot of money politics takes place, and a lot of that money flows into the hands of investors. And typically in the last 7 elections, about 15% increase in the index 3 months in front of the election. So generally, people get excited and stocks start getting ramped. And
Doug, since you mentioned the end of May, I understand that on May the 30th we have an important tribunal court ruling which will decide whether or not the current political establishment is left intact. If it is, indeed, that increases the chances of that election going forward. So if indeed we get a favourable court ruling, would you change your investment strategy? Would you, for example, switch out of defensives and go into other sectors? What would you be doing?
Well, actually, right now we are very bullish, and
but why? Why? What is it that you are seeing?
I was hoping you'd ask that question.
It seems business confidence is down, consumer confidence is down, the economy is slowing to the degree that the central bank is having to aggressively cut interest rates. What are you seeing?
Well, the central bank is cutting interest rates because of the strong baht. The baht appreciated 15% against the other exporting Asian economies last year, and that made Thailand's exports somewhat uncompetitive. So the Bank of Thailand is aggressively cutting interest rates to weaken the baht.
But does it have much impact on the baht, considering
so far
the capital controls are in place still, and so it's not really that influenced by monetary policy moves?
Well, so far it has stabilized the baht, and just 2 days ago they cut another 50 basis points, and generally cutting interest rates is good for stock prices. So that's one thing. Oil prices this year are flat to down. There's a major infrastructure spending program, about $13 billion, which starts third or fourth quarter of this year. There's an election rally I mentioned before. And most importantly, stocks are cheap. They're about, the whole index is about 10.5 times PE and 26% earnings growth. And the next cheapest market in Asia is Korea, which is about 12-something. So you'd have to have about a 20% rally just to get to the depressed levels of the Korean market.
Okay, so perhaps cheap for a reason, but you do see opportunities in, is it a sort of a stock picker's market right now, and which ones would you buy specifically?
Okay, well, our largest position right now is Banpu Coal, which is trading on about 6 times PE and 40% earnings growth this year. Maybe the first quarter came in even better than that. Our second largest is Taurus and Thai Agencies, which is a shipping company which is benefiting from higher shipping rates. And there's also...
And Torresen is actually listing its offshore subsidiary in Singapore later on this year. Do you reckon that's a good opportunity for investors?
Well, I mean, that's a catalyst for the stock because about $150 million of the $450 million market cap is tied up in that subsidiary. So that will make it clear that the shipping business is throwing off tremendous earnings.
Of these two stocks that you just mentioned, Torresen Thai Agency and Bumpu Coal, how leveraged are they, though, to Chinese demand, to the Chinese economy?
Well, the whole reason that shipping rates are so high right now is because China this year has switched from being an exporter of coal in short shipping lines to Japan and Korea to importing coal in long shipping lines from Australia and South America. And because that takes up so many more ship days, that has, increased demand for shipping, and shipping prices are rising. So, I mean, Torresen is definitely a beneficiary of the increased Chinese activity.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your conversation today.
Okay.
Doug Barnett of Quest Management. Here is your question of the day. Given the political uncertainties in Thailand, are you better off investing in other Southeast Asian markets? Do send us your thoughts now to our website, which is asia.cnbc.